guys, thanks so much for tuning in today for this video. Today I'm going to be talking about a new Maybelline foundation called the Dream Smooth Mousse Foundation, and this is, I believe, available in the UK, and they call it Dream Creamy Foundation, and this is not available everywhere yet. I was lucky to find it in my area, so I thought I would just go ahead and do a review of it now for you so you can kind of get the word up on it before it really starts hitting stores. So this is sort of a spin-off on the Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse Foundation, which I also just picked up, and prior to this I had never really used either of these foundations, so I'm kind of new to both of these formulations, but I've been trying both of them, kind of switching off every other day, and I have, some good things to share with you guys. So in this video I'm going to be primarily focusing on the Dream Smooth Mousse, and then I'm going to be filming another video about the Dream Matte Mousse. So the Dream Smooth Mousse is an ultra hydrating cream whipped foundation, and this is $10, which is not bad at all. You get 14 grams of product, and that's actually a really good amount of product for $10. Just to give you something to compare it to, the MAC Studio Tech Foundation, which is also a cream to powder foundation, is $29 and you only get 10 grams. And my Urban Decay Cream to Powder Foundation, which I've also reviewed, so feel free to check that out if you're interested. This one was $34 and you only get 8 grams of product. So you're getting 14 grams of product here for $10 versus 8 grams of product here for $34. Now this is a drugstore foundation, so obviously it's going to be a lot more affordable than your MAC or your Urban Decay kind of makeup, but I've actually been pretty pleasantly surprised with this foundation and really been liking it a lot. I'm wearing it right now just to kind of show you what the consistency, like what it looks like, what the finish is. And I'm wearing this in color 200 Creamy Natural. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. The packaging is really cute. It has a little flip up thing like this, and it comes with a sponge. I have used the sponge a little bit for touch-ups, so that's why it's dirty, but the sponge just sits right in here. It has its own compartment. No mirror, unfortunately. I think it would be really nice to have a mirror there, but no mirror. And then as opposed to flipping up, this actually twists off, similar to the Dream Matte Mousse. Now, unlike the Dream Matte Mousse, this is a kind of more a cream to powder consistency, whereas the Dream Matte Mousse is more of a whipped consistency. So this is going to be a little bit more of a thick consistency, and the Dream Smooth Mousse is very creamy. So you can see, you can just rub it off on your finger, it glides right on, and it comes in a flat kind of jar like this. You screw on here. So this is kind of, I think, supposed to be like the more moisturizing version of the Dream Matte Mousse, kind of more for maybe like normal to dry skinned people. Now I have combination oily skin, so I had heard some good things about the Dream Smooth Mousse despite the fact that it's supposed to be hydrating. And I was like, I'll just try it and see like how it goes. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. It didn't make my skin very oily, and pretty much everything makes my skin oily, so that was a really big surprise to me. The coverage is, I would say, light to medium. Like you can still see some of my freckles here kind of coming through. It is not a very strong coverage foundation, like not a very heavy coverage. My favorite way I have applied this is using just a regular foundation brush and then just kind of taking it and swirling it into here and then just directly applying it onto the face. This one I really love because it's super blendable, it's very even, not like spotty at all. I think the more creamy, smooth consistency of this one compared to the Dream Matte Mousse is a lot easier to apply. So I really like that about it. It goes on very smooth, very creamy, almost like you're applying a liquid foundation, except it's not a liquid, it just comes like this. So, it's not whipped, like I said, it just glides on. The only complaint I have with this is that it's not very long wearing, and it doesn't claim to be long wearing, so I can't really complain about that because it's not a claim on the packaging. I mean, it doesn't claim to be long wearing, but if you're kind of looking to wear this for any more than like 5 to 7 hours, you know, you're just going to have to anticipate that it is going to kind of start, as I like to call it, just evaporating. Unlike other creamy foundations I've used, this one doesn't like rub off or like get like sticky or oily or anything, which is nice. It just sort of evaporates. It just kind of disappears. And so that's my only complaint with this, is I really love the way it looks. It's really easy to apply, and it's really affordable, and you get a lot of grams per dollar, but it doesn't really stay on. But I can't really complain because it doesn't make me very oily, which is really nice. So if you have oily skin and you're still kind of interested in this, you might just want to be using a primer and set it with a powder. That's what I've been doing, and it's been working pretty well for me. Another way you could apply this is using like a flat top kabuki brush. This is synthetic. This is my Sigma F80, and also this is my Geofiber MAC 187. I think either of these would also be fine for applying it. I like using the traditional foundation brush because you get a lot of control over it, and you can kind of get around the nose and stuff better. But I think that these would be fine too, or if you just want to apply with this and then go through later and buff out with one of these. Now, I would not recommend using the sponge to apply this. I have just been using the sponge for touch-ups, but the sponge to me has made my pores look a lot bigger, and it just kind of gets rid of that airbrushed finish. The sponge kind of makes it look a little bit more cakey in my opinion, so if you're looking for a more smooth airbrushed finish, I would definitely opt for a foundation brush. And also, I would not recommend using your fingers with this product. A lot of people use their fingers with the Dream Matte Mousse because it is kind of that whipped texture. It's just really easy to move around with your fingers, but this one, when I first got it, I just opened up the pan and took my finger and went like this just to try to kind of test out the color to see if it was going to match. And it just like didn't glide on very well. It really needs to be applied with some kind of brush, or else it's not going to really glide on the skin very smoothly. So yeah, that's pretty much my review on the Dream Smooth Mousse. Light to medium coverage. Pretty hydrating. I mean, I can't really speak to that because I don't have dry skin. So if you have more questions about whether or not this was actually moisturizing or hydrating, I'm really not the person to ask because my skin is always completely oily and moisturized. So I can't really speak to that portion of it, but this does seem like it would be a lot better for someone with dry skin because it isn't that whipped kind of consistency. I think that this would look much better on any kind of normal to dry skinned person, but I think if you have combination oily skin, it's definitely something you might consider. If you have really, really oily skin, like super oily skin, maybe stay away from it, just because it's not very long wearing. It might just kind of slip off, but I feel bad, like oily skin is just a battle, you know, it's hard to find anything. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Oh, the color spectrum. Sorry, almost forgot. The color spectrum, so I'm number 200 Creamy Natural. I first bought the color darker than this, and it was really yellow, and it was too dark for me. I don't remember what it was called because there's no like website up right now. Like these colors aren't on Maybelline.com right now, so I can't check. But I would just be cognizant when you're looking, you know, look at the undertone on the swatch. They're not labeled like as a yellow undertone or a pink undertone, so they're kind of tricky to find your color match. So maybe when you're in the store, buy a few of them and then just exchange whatever ones didn't work, like as far as the color. Or just look at the swatches on the display. They're pretty obvious if it's a pink or a yellow undertone. As far as neutral undertone people, which is myself, I had kind of a hard time finding one with a neutral undertone. This one is really more of a pink undertone. But a pink undertone for me works pretty well because I'm an NW20. So just for reference, NW20, my color is 200 Creamy Natural. So just to kind of give you an idea, and I think this is like the third from the lightest, third or fourth from the lightest. So it's kind of in the medium to light range. So yeah, I hope you guys found this review helpful. If you have any other questions or if there's anything I forgot to mention in this video, feel free to leave me a comment below, and don't forget to like it and subscribe.